Hey, what if spring didn't begin with sunshine, but with a scream? A young goddess is picking flowers in a bright meadow when the earth cracks open beneath her feet. She's dragged into the underworld, and the worst part is, her father allowed it. This is the myth of Persephone and Hades, told through the Homeric Hymn to Demeter. Act 1. The Meadow and the Abduction. Persephone is the daughter of Demeter, goddess of grain and growth, and Zeus, king of the gods. Demeter loves her with the fierce focus of a mother who has only one beloved child. Persephone spent her days the way a young goddess should, roaming in sunlight, laughing with her companions, gathering flowers in a meadow beneath Olympus. And it isn't just pretty imagery. Flowers mattered. In the ancient world, they meant medicine, scent, ritual, and everyday life. Even the divine versions of youth still mirrors the human life. Then one day, Persephone notes a scent, too sweet, too perfect, almost targeted. A single flower stands out, a beautiful narcissus. It calls to her. She reaches for it, and suddenly the earth opens. From the split in the ground comes a chariot pulled by dark horses. The driver is Hades, lord of the underworld. In one violent moment, Persephone is seized and taken below. She screams, calling for her mother and even for her father, but Zeus does nothing. And Demeter hears the scream. She doesn't know what happened, she only knows the sound of her daughter's terror. So Demeter begins the search. For 9 days she wanders without rest. No food, no bathing, no comfort. She questioned gods, mortals, even birds. Anything that might have seen the truth. Act 2. Demeter's grief, disguise, and the spark of a crisis. When no one answers, Demeter's search turns frantic, and then hollow. She questions gods, mortals, even birds, and gets nothing back, until she meets Hecate. Hecate tells her, "I heard the screams too. I didn't see who took her, but I know who would." She points Demeter to the one who watches everything from above, Helios, the sun. Demeter confronts Helios, and Helios finally says it out loud. It was Hades, and it wasn't treated like a crime, it was treated like a marriage. And then the real betrayal. Zeus proved it. Even the earth helped set the trap, so Persephone would wander away from her friends, reach for the flower, and be taken. That's the moment Demeter's grave hardens into something sharper. Refusal. She withdraws from the gods, she stops sitting at their table, she still performs her divine role, but like a machine, cold, automatic, and joyless. Then she descends into the mortal world disguised as an old woman. Dusty cloak, tired eyes, a stranger among humans. People don't always treat her kindly, but eventually she reaches Eleusis and sits near a well. 4 young women find her there and ask if she needs help. Demeter invents a story. She says she's been taken from her home, escaped, and she's searching for honest work, especially caring for a child. The girls bring her to their mother, Metanera, queen of Eleusis. Metanera has a baby son, Demophon. Demeter becomes his nurse. And here, the myth turns strange in a way that only myths can. Demeter wants to make the child strong, more than human, protected from weakness. Night after night, she performs a secret ritual. She holds the child in the fire, and one day Metanera sees it and screams. She panics, she interrupts the ritual. And Demeter, furious, towering, suddenly divine, reveals who she is. She tells them to build her a temple. And there, alone in her sanctuary, Demeter's grief becomes a threat. She doesn't just mourn, she withholds fertility from earth. The fields die, seeds refuse to sprout, animals weaken, humans starve. And the gods begin to notice something terrifying. If the mortals die, no sacrifices rise to Olympus, so no smoke, no offering, and no honor. Act 3. The dew, the seed, and the birth of the seasons. Zeus finally realizes the problem isn't just emotional, it's cosmic. So he sends messengers to Demeter, first Iris and then other gods one by one, offering gifts and apologies, and Demeter refuses them all. Only one thing will move her: Persephone must return. So Zeus sends Hermes to the underworld. Hermes delivers the order, and Hades, stern, powerful, not a cartoon villain, but the lawful ruler of his realm, agrees to let Persephone go. But before she leaves, Hades offers her a gift, a pomegranate seed. Persephone eats it. When Persephone rises from the earth and reunites with Demeter, the first thing Demeter asks is simple and desperate: "Did you eat anything down there?" Because if she did, the bond is sealed. She will always have a tie to the underworld. Persephone admits the truth. She ate the seed. So Zeus proposed the compromise that defines the world. Persephone will spend part of the year below with Hades and the rest with Demeter above. And Demeter finally releases the earth. Grain rises again, fields return to green, and the world breathes again. And that's why spring returns. Persephone returns. So, what is this story really about? This isn't just a story, it's an explanation. This version comes from the Homeric Hymn to Demeter, one of the oldest and sacred Greek poems. It wasn't written to entertain, it was written to actually explain how the world works. And here's the key: when Persephone is in the underworld, Demeter's grave makes the earth go barren. So no crops, no life, that's winter. And when Persephone returns, Demeter's joy brings everything back. Flowers, harvest, life. That's basically spring and summer. So the seasons are basically a mother's love turned into weather. It also shows how powers worked in the ancient world. Back then, the marriage were often arranged by male guardians, and girls wasn't always asked. The hymn doesn't make this okay, but it shows how society called it normal, even when it was violent. And yes, we are talking about the agreement with Hades that Zeus did. Eleusis wasn't random. It became a real religion. This myth became the foundation of the Eleusinians' mysteries, secret rites that promised blessing in life and hope after death. Demeter doesn't just give grain, she gives human a way to endure loss and change. And of course, it's a story about moral and resilience, and also transformation. Demeter is resilience with teeth, even from Zeus himself, the king of the gods. She mourns, but she acts. And Persephone transforms. She doesn't remain only a victim, she becomes the queen of the underworld. That's the heart of the myth. Life is seasonal. We lose, we wait, and we return. Which myth do you want next? Please tell me in the comment section. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and this type of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you want to hear this myth again, this tale, it's also published on Spotify. I will leave the link in the description. So see ya!